Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we are back with a Kalista basic guide. And Kalista is a very strong ADC with very strong early game, very strong all-in potential, but a lot of backloaded damage because most of her damage comes from pulling out the spears in your opponents. But she is a super duper strong carry and one of the most fun ADCs to play just because you can hop around after every auto attack, and I enjoy that a lot personally. So anyways, without further ado, we're gonna hop straight into the practice tool as usual to take a look at her skills. So she is a pretty complicated champion, so this is probably gonna be a pretty long video, a lot of stuff to talk about. Alright, so here we are in the practice tool to go over her skills. First things first, we want to disable the bot. Level ourselves up to 5. And yeah, okay, so let's spawn a training dummy. Now the first part of her passive is actually her Oath Sword, which I can't exactly show in the practice tool here right now, but I will kind of insert a clip of it over here. But basically what this is you can actually use this button over here. It's normally not over here, it's normally somewhere more above your skills, but I like to put it down here because I don't want it to be in the way of other stuff. But you can bind to somebody, and when you bind to somebody, that allows you to have extra abilities on your W as well as your ultimate. So we will go over that when we get to those abilities, but I will show the binding with Kalista and her Oathsworn. This is going to be with the Soul Fighter Kalista skin, so it is still Kalista just with a skin. Same goes for the demonstrations with the W and the alt later on, so this video is going to be pretty heavily edited. But yeah, so first part of her passive other than her Oathsworn is going to be her auto attack. So here you can see that when you auto attack something, you are going to be able to use your joystick to hop in a direction. So here I'm attacking the target dummy, I can hop backwards, hop forwards, hop towards the dummy, so on and so forth. So in case you guys are wondering, the DPS that you have if you just stand still and auto attack like that, and if you actually hop and auto attack, is exactly the same. I've tested it in the practice tool, so there is no disadvantage to hopping at all. In fact, you should almost always hop, because this is going to allow you to reposition yourself constantly, even if you're just hopping to the side like that, hopping forward to chase or hopping away to kite. You should always be hopping, because this is going to give you the same DPS but just more mobility. So speaking of mobility, this dashing distance is based upon your boots here. So for example, if I pick up the... Could I actually pick it up? I'm not in the base apparently. If I pick up the basic boots like this, the hopping distance is actually going to increase slightly. And when I get the second tier boots, is going to be at the maximum, hopping distance. You can see I'm hopping, a lot. Not a lot, but a little bit further. And also with more attack speed, your attack speed wind up does go down by a little bit. So you can attack, you can see that you can, the animation is faster of course because you have more attack speed. Things like that. So next up, this is basically all there is to her passive. Next up we're going to talk about her Q, which is Pierce. So this is a pretty long range Q, as you guys can see. It is a free targeted skill shot. You can just launch it at wherever you want to. Giving myself 0 cooldowns here, so you can see here that we can basically just launch it at an enemy. It's going to put a spear into them, as you guys can see here. You can see the spear. This is important for your E ability, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And when you use this, you can actually hop. So for example, over here you can hop like that with your passive as well. Now this is really important, because if you guys notice for the passive, you have to actually have something to auto attack to hop. So with your Q, for example, if I want to get over this wall using a hop, I could do this with my passive. So for example, if there is an enemy dummy over here, and let's say I can see this enemy dummy, I could actually hop over this wall like that using the passive. You can see it's a little bit, the wall hop is a little bit inconsistent because you must get the joystick placement exactly right to actually hop the wall. If not, you're just gonna fail and you're just gonna run into the wall like this instead. So if I have an enemy dummy there, that's fine. What if I want to cross this wall? There's no one here. So what I can do is instead I can Q and use it to dash over the wall. So that's kind of a small, kind of tip. The other thing with Q is it also transfers spears from minions to anybody behind. So I'm gonna actually just try to show this off with this minion wave. So here I'm gonna focus this minion. You can see that this guy has a couple spears. I Q through and you can see that this minion, this one here, now has a number of spears. So here I'm gonna do it to this minion again. I'm gonna transfer it to this guy over here. You can see now this guy has like 3 spears in him. Of course, no more minions to actually transfer anymore. Actually, I'm just gonna recall. It's probably faster to get back to the base. But that is basically what her Q does. Now for her W, it does 2 things. The first thing is going to be when you have an Osorn, when you attack a target, it is going to mark that target, and if your Osorn attacks the same target, it's going to do % max health damage. Now this also works the other way, which is if your Osorn attacks a target and you attack the same target, it's also going to do the same amount of extra % health damage. Again, here I'm going to insert a clip of this right now. So you guys can see that that's what happens, and the other one is the active. So here you can see we have 2 charges of this. What basically this does is it sends out this kind of what I like to call a ghost. It's basically just gonna go back and forth like that for like 3 times, and if it spots an enemy like this, it's just gonna run straight at them and reveal them, and they can be destroyed. So now the only other thing to take note of is if there's an obstacle in the way. So for example, there is a wall here. I want to check the wolf pit. It is going to go around the obstacle like this and follow the same patrol route 3 times. So it's gonna go to the wolf, come back around this wall to where I released it at this point, and then it's going to turn back around, follow the same patrol route like this, and it's going to do this for a total of 3 times. Now this actually lasts quite a duration of time. Now this is probably a pretty useless ability because most enemies, like for example, if I was an enemy, I was at the wolf pit, I see this guy coming like that, I'm just gonna try to get out of the way. I wasn't too good at it at that time, but if I was actually paying attention. So for example, I'm here just doing the wolves. The guy just died, but so I was here doing the wolves. I see this guy, I'm immediately gonna move out of the way to make sure I'm not spotted by this guy, and then I'm gonna continue doing the wolves like this, and things like that. So generally, you aren't really gonna get spotted by this majority of the time, unless you're pretty unlucky that you happen to enter the bush when the ghost enters the bush, something like that. So next up, I'm going to be talking about her E. So her E is the Ren. So here you can see that basically every time we auto attack, you can see we're stacking spears into the dummy, and when we Q, we also stack spears. So basically, based on how many spears there are, I can pop the E to pull out all those spears like this, boom, and that is going to do a major amount of damage. Now the first spear does more damage than the rest, and the rest of the spears does just a little bit of damage each. So the first spear does the most. So for example, you can see if I auto and pull, that does well, it's really hard because you gotta use math here, but it does about 60 something worth of damage for that one spear. But if I do that twice and I pull, you can see that total damage added was about 100. So that's about 40 damage for the second spear compared to 60 on the first spear. Just some rough estimation in terms of math there. And yeah, so something else that you want to take note of this is it also slows. So here you can see like this, the guy is actually slowed. Of course he's not walking, so you can't really see, but it does actually slow. Now something else to take note of is if you kill either a minion or if you kill a champion, this is actually going to reset fully. So here unfortunately that minion died, so we can't really demonstrate on that minion. We have to wait for the next minion wave. So here you can see we're auto attacking this first minion here, and we pull. We can see that actually we have 0 cooldown, so we can't actually see that. So now like this, we pull, the cooldown instantly refreshes. So we're gonna not focus the tower, we're gonna focus the minion. So here this minion we pull, it resets instantly. This minion as well, we pull, it resets instantly as long as it kills a minion. So basically this allows you to do a couple of interesting combos. So basically what you can do is if we spawn an enemy dummy here, what you can do is if you can attack the dummy, and then you can attack the dummy, stack some spears into him, and then you attack a minion like with 1 spear, you pull. Or the minion died before I could pull, but let's try that again. So we can attack the dummy for a little bit, and then attack a minion, and okay, the minion just died. Okay, the minion is kind of betraying me, but here let's say we attack the dummy, let's say 3 times, the minion gets low, we pull, and then it's gonna reset my E automatically and deal damage to him. And of course, we can just repeat the process like this, and we pull and we reset our E because we killed the minion. So that is kind of one of the kind of combos. I'm not really combo, but it's one of the things that you can do with your E. So with your ult, basically what it's gonna do is it's gonna suck in your Oathsworn into you, where they're basically gonna get cleansed, untargetable, invulnerable, just gonna get pulled into you like after 1 second, and afterwards they can retarget and throw themselves out. Again, I'm gonna insert a clip right now to show you guys what happens when you do that. And that is basically gonna be it for Kalista's basic abilities. So now we're going to talk about the leveling order. So we're first going to reset level. So level 1, most of the time you want to be taking your E, because if you get into a level 1 fight all in, or you can use your E to poke if you do the minion trick that I showed you guys last night, you want to use your E. Of course you can also take your Q, for example, level 1, which is going to give you that long range poke a little bit, but you don't have the E to pull out your spears. You can even take W level 1 if you and your Oathsworn attack the same person. It's going to do damage, but I think that's the most inconsistent. So generally I would take E followed by generally Q and then generally W, so you get all 3 abilities at level 3. Max E first most of the time. You could max Q as well, because Q scaling is really good as well, but I like to max E and then max Q. I only max Q if I'm building lethality, as I said so in that video, and we max W last, of course taking ulti whenever available. So that's it for the leveling order. Now we're going to talk about some combos. So combos, there's really not a lot of combos to do. Now most of the time you're going to start off with your combo with a Q. So for example, I'm going to use this dummy over here. I'm going to put another dummy over here. Angles, actually there is already a dummy there, but I can't really be seen. Okay, so here, most of the time you can see I'm out of range. So most of the time I start off my combo with a Q, because Q has a lot higher range than my auto attack. You can see my auto attack only reaches up to here, but my Q can reach all the way up to here. So we generally start off our combo with Q so we can dash forward, and then we can start autoing the guy. And when he's either low enough or we have to kind of run away, we just pull the spears. So in case you guys didn't know, which I didn't actually mention this, but the spear rate, the E range is kind of roughly the range of your screen. So here you can see, like, I have the E in him, and the moment I walk out of, like, he's out of my screen, I can't really E him anymore. So something like this, like, I'm not in range, but if I go here, I am in range. So it's roughly the range of your screen. So the other way to combo is you use your ult to engage first, which of course I can't show in the practice. So we use your ult to engage, your support dashes on top of him, and then you basically do the same thing where you just go on him and then you just E when time is appropriate. So that's pretty much it for combos. But now talking about some tips and tricks. Now first one is something I already kind of mentioned just now. Actually, wait, I did not really mention this, but let me first cover the. Actually, I did cover it. I covered the Q through the minions and the E, the minions to reset the E, but I also covered the Q over the wall. But the Q over the wall is pretty important, and you really want to kind of find out which walls you can and cannot get over. So for example, I can get over that wall, but this wall, I can get over as well. This wall, I can get over as well. So can this wall. And here in the dragon pit, this is a bit wonky, because here, you can see that from this angle, you can't actually go into the dragon pit like that. However, from here, you can actually go into the dragon pit. So there are certain angles that you can and cannot go through. So I generally try to go to the middle, because the middle is the pretty safe space, whereas the sides a little bit wonky. You can see it's kind of a little bit hard to enter. And the raptor pit also is kind of a little bit of a challenge. It can be a little bit hard to go through certain parts of the wall, so it's very risky. You can see here, I sometimes can't really go through the wall like this, but you saw just now that I actually did manage to dash over the wall. So it's really just yeah, you can see it works sometimes. So this is very unreliable, but some walls you can get over all the time, like this one that I just showed, like the red buff wall, no problem. Most walls you can get over with decent thickness. Of course, the mid lane walls you can also get over, and on the blue side jungle, of course, there are multiple walls you can get over as well. Like this thick blue buff wall, you can get over the thin blue buff wall as well. Of course, you can get over the wolf wall, but not at the middle, because the middle is too thick. This side also you can get over, and the gromp wall is really small, so most spots you can get over the gromp wall. Yeah. So the next kind of tip, which I'm just gonna spawn an enemy dummy here so we don't have to walk all the way back, is you can actually E while your Q is in mid-flight. So here, or rather maybe, wait, let me just get some spirits into him. So here, or actually you can't do that in Wild Rift. In PC you could do that where if your Q is in mid-flight, you can actually E to empower your Q to give it your E's damage. But apparently in Wild Rift you can't actually do that. So I guess that's not a tip and trick. That's something you can't do. So yeah, so we can't do that. So anyways, that is pretty much it for the Kalista. Basically got a little bit of a fumble right there at the end with the tips and tricks section, but overall should be pretty alright. So thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.